I know that this year's honorees, along with previous inductees, would be the first to tell you that their success did not happen in a vacuum. It was a combination of their own hard work, the sacrifice, and that of all their teammates also made, along with their coaches and their support staff. So would all former Cottle EKU coaches, student athletes, and staff please stand that we may recognize you as well. We would also like to acknowledge the Athletics Hall of Fame Selection Committee, which has once again taken on that very difficult task of identifying the best of our best and given us another well-deserving class of inductees. So thanks to the committee for a job well done. Also in attendance today is Alan Long, Vice Chair of the EKU Board of Regents. If we could recognize Alan over at table 13. The son of two Eastern graduates, the next man I'm about to introduce arrived on the Richmond campus from Fraser, Michigan in 1971. He came here on a basketball scholarship, very excited to play for Guy Strong. However, on Thanksgiving Day of that year, a motorcycle accident shattered his right leg, and with it his dreams of a future in the sport, as well as a desire to become a military officer. Craig Turner was forced to consider a different path than the one he once envisioned, the one he envisioned as he stepped on campus. So let's fast forward to 2006 when Mr. Turner, by now a highly successful Central Kentucky businessman, was named to the Board of Regents here at his alma mater. And then in 2013, he was elected the board's chair, and that was at a time when the university needed to reinvent itself to stay on top of its game. That same year, Mr. Turner headed the search committee that tapped Michael Benson as president, and soon the university embarked on the most ambitious campus revitalization in its history, one designed to transform the living and the learning experiences of all of the students here at EKU. So over the past 3 years, Mr. Turner has brought to Eastern that same can-do entrepreneurial spirit that led this political science graduate to leave behind a promising career in public service to enter the private sector. He went on to become founder and CEO of CRM Companies, a commercial development firm with 700 employees in various hotel, office, retail, and restaurant ventures. Later this month, Mr. Turner will be among the newest inductees into our university's Hall of Distinguished Alumni. Besides giving of his leadership talents, Mr. Turner and wife Madonna, both 1975 EKU graduates, have generously supported several academic and athletics initiatives at the university. That support has funded the Arlington Classic fundraiser for our golf teams, which led to the establishment of the EKU Intercollegiate Golf Tournament, the President's Research and Scholarship Fund, Board of Regents Scholarship Fund, and most recently, of course, Turnergate, the new pedestrian entrance on the west side of campus. It's a gateway that has been designed to symbolize the life-changing significance of the Eastern experience, and it was certainly just that for Mr. Turner, even if he did have to reinvent himself. Ladies and gentlemen, the chair of our Board of Regents and a proud colonel, Mr. Craig Turner.
Well, good afternoon. Today's a great day. First of all, on behalf of President Benson, he is not here today, so if you look at your program, I don't quite look like him. His mother passed away, and he is in Utah for those services and will return back to home here in Richmond tomorrow. So he sends his regards. I think the one thing that the President and I have in common is our profound love of athletics, and particularly that we understand the value of the student athlete. I don't know, for those of you that haven't been on campus lately, I do tell you that there's a lot of changes going on. We've got a lot of new dorms being built. We've got a Karloftis Gardens coming up. We have the gate. We've got the renovation of the Powell Center that'll start soon, of our student center, a Powell building for the student center. And we've got a new student rec center that's going to take place that will be approximately where Todd and Dupree currently stand. Athletic facilities. We have a new softball field being built for women. We've got the football complex renovation taking place on the east side. We've got weight rooms. We've got a baseball stadium that's being redone. So a lot of good things are happening. One good thing that I do want to tell you has remained the same is our commitment to the student athlete and the importance of an education and a degree. I believe there is nothing like a student athlete. Their dedication and commitment is unique. The physical demands that they have, the balance of academics and practice, the competitive spirit and teamwork. These are all traits that are benefits to them both now, in the future, and with their families and in their workplace. As a former student athlete, I understand today that I have the honor and privilege to be here with the best of the best. So to all of you, those of you that were recognized earlier on the back of the program, thank you for your contribution to Eastern. There have been 121 individuals and 3 teams that have previously been inducted. This year's inductees represent athletes who have collected 16 All-OVC awards, 6 All-American certificates, 2 MVPs, 14 school records, one first-round professional league draft pick, 1 Player of the Year award, 3 Olympic tryout spots, 1 OVC Freshman of the Year, 2 All-OVC tournament awards, and 2 EKU Hall of Distinguished Alumni awards. As I got ready to come over today, I received a text, an email from the Eastern Alumni Association. And I thought it was interesting, they had a quote for the day. And the quote that I received this morning was, "It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are." All of you here become very special people in life, and you've had a very special place at Eastern. And I do believe that the student athlete, that there is no one like the student athlete on this university campus. Again, I wish the president had been here. He wanted to be here. It's an honor to be with you, and congratulations to this recognition. Thank you.
And now let's meet our 2016 EKU Athletics Hall of Fame class. Our first inductee was a right-handed pitcher and a designated player for Coach Jane Worthington's EKU softball team from 2004 to 2007. She began her career in fine fashion in 2004 as OVC Freshman of the Year, first team All-OVC, and was named to the All-OVC tournament team. She led Eastern to the title that year as the team won a program record 42 games and competed in the NCAA tournament for the second time in school history. She finished 18-10 on the mound with a 1.82 ERA, 21 complete games, and 10 shutouts. She also batted .317. Her sophomore season, she led the team in ERA and saves. She was named to the all-tournament team as a junior and led the Colonels in wins, ERA, and shutouts as a senior. She finished 62-52 at her Eastern pitching career with 28 shutouts, a 2.33 ERA, 6 saves, and 627 strikeouts. She also totaled 19 home runs and had 117 RBIs. She still holds the Colonel record for most games played in a season, most games started on the mound, and most consecutive shutouts, all accomplished in her junior season. Joined today by her family and friends, let's welcome number 24, Kelsey Anderson Dunson.
Thank you. I have my little cheat sheet. It's an honor for me to have the opportunity to stand before you as an inductee of the 2016 Eastern Kentucky University Hall of Fame softball, or for the softball. I am truly honored, blessed, and humbled to be in this year's class of great athletes. Thank you to Carl Park and the Hall of Fame committee for the decision to induct me into the Hall of Fame. This is such an honor and a memory I will cherish forever. I would like to thank everyone who has supported me before and during my softball career at EKU. I have had so many people contribute to my success, and these are just a few of them. Thank you to my parents and the countless hours they spent running around to practices, pitching lessons, and games. You both have always believed in me and pushed me not only to achieve my goals, but surpass them. To my other family members that are present, thank you for your ongoing support and help during the softball career. And now to my EKU Kern family, what an incredible journey we had. All of the honors awards that I was part of during my 4 years was possible by my teammates, coaching staff, and fans. Coach Worthington and Coach Mills, thank you for molding me into the best player that I could be, for realizing my potential, creating an environment that pushed me when I needed to be pushed, challenged me to improve, and for nurturing and encouraging me when you saw that I needed it. In closing, I could not ask for a better college experience and knew that EKU was perfect for me. I will forever be grateful for everyone that helped me along the way. Go EKU Sports. Thank you.
Our second inductee played 2 spectacular years for the EKU women's basketball team from 1983 to 1985, collecting first-team All-OVC honors each season. She joined the program after being named a junior college All-American at Miami-Dade South Community College, where she was selected Conference Athlete of the Year. As a junior, she led Coach Diane Murphy's Colonels to wins over Wisconsin, Evansville, Duke, Bowling Green, and Louisville en route to a 17-11 record and a second-place finish in the OVC. She led the OVC in field goal percentage at 56.2%, was 7th in scoring at 15.2 a game, and 3rd in rebounding at 9.5 per contest. She grabbed 17 rebounds in a 69-55 win, I should say, over Louisville. Following her junior year, she and fellow EKU Hall of Famer Lisa Goodman were invited to try out for the U.S. Olympic team, and both were among the final cuts for that squad. As a senior, she helped EKU continue its winning ways with a 18-10 record. They had victories that season over Miami of Florida, Dayton, and Kent State. She averaged 15.5 points, 11.1 rebounds a game. Her top rebounding performance came against Dayton when she pulled down 20 boards. She holds program records for most double-doubles, 16, most rebounds, and best field goal percentage in a single season, achieving All-American status. Following her Eastern career, she played overseas in Ireland and England and was named Player of the Year in England in 1986. Ladies and gentlemen, number 45, Tina Cottle.
Good afternoon. I want to thank our Father. Yes, you see I had to hold on because those knees are not the same anymore. I want to thank the EKU program for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I want to thank my family, my father, Ernest Cottle, my mother, Katie Mae Cottle. I want to thank my coach, junior college coach, Carol Smith. I want to thank Diane Murphy, Dr. Mullins, and Cole, for everybody that inducted me. I thank you, and thank you for having me to your family.
Our next inductee played baseball for 4 seasons at EKU, from 1957 to 1960 for Coach Turkey Hughes. He was the starting catcher on back-to-back OVC championship teams in 1959 and 1960. And he's still listed in the EKU record book for his 1958 batting average of .473, 2 percentage points away from what is now the all-time EKU single-season mark. He ended his playing career as co-captain of the 1960 Maroons, a season he was named All-OVC. This inductee has had a very distinguished career, most notably in the field of education. Upon graduation from Eastern in 1960, he served as a teacher in the Covington School District. In 1961, he returned to Eastern to serve as a graduate assistant coach for the baseball team, helping lead Eastern, to that 1962 OVC championship. He then returned to the Covington School District, where he taught and coached the Covington Holmes High School baseball team to the 1963 state championship. He served as the superintendent of the Ludlow School District from 1978 to 1997. Then he received the Paul Mason Legislative Advocate for Children Award from the Kentucky PTA in recognition of his ardent support for the Commonwealth's children during his decade as a state legislator. He then served as the Commissioner of Education from 2008 to 2010. He has received numerous awards in the northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area and has had buildings at Edgewood and Ludlow named in his honor. He was chosen as EKU's most outstanding alumnus in 2000, and he delivered the commencement address at EKU in the spring of 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jon Draud.
Took me a little while to get up here also, so I know what you're talking about. Wanted to thank the committee for selecting me for this great honor, and I particularly like to thank Carl Park for the very professional way that he handled this whole process. And then I'd like to thank my teammate, Shannon Johnson, for nominating me. And matter of fact, I told Shannon he belongs in here before me, but I'll take it, Shannon, so if you don't mind. But I'd like to introduce the people at my table right now, and if you'll just wave your hand, you don't have to stand. But my wife, Beverly Draud, of 52 years, she's the most caring person I know, and a beautiful girl from Middlesboro, Kentucky, so you can't do much better than that. And I have my son Scott with me today, one of my 3 children. Scott distinguished himself in sports and athletics at Highlands High School in Vanderbilt, where he still holds several records and played for C.M. Newton and Eddie Fogler. And then to provide some companionship, I guess, Tom Haney was willing to come down. Tom was a 69 graduate. He played for my state championship baseball team. And then, as I mentioned before, Shannon Johnson, he has his friend Linda Hunt with him. And Shannon, of course, distinguished himself here as a school superintendent. And then I'd also like to recognize, I saw Don Feltner earlier. He was one of my coaches here at Eastern, and I believe we won the OVC that year too. But Feltner, Don was a very good coach and a caring person, and I appreciate the help, all the help that he gave me. The 2 things I remember most about Eastern, and one of them I really am very happy about, because when I was here at Eastern, the baseball team, there was a lot of winning, and that made it fun for me because I'm a bad loser. So we had a lot of winning, and I really enjoyed that. We won 2 out of the 4 years I played. We won the conference, and the 1 year I coached, we won the conference with Turkey Hughes. I was his graduate assistant. He was nice enough to give me a scholarship to come back and get a master's. And the other thing I remember about Eastern, and this was particularly important at the time of my life, but I remember the culture of the campus being a very kind and caring atmosphere. And that was very important to me when I was younger. And I think it's still that way. I don't come back very much anymore. But as I remember, the culture was very caring and kind people. There were a lot of very kind people and helpful people. I'm going to end my comments by quoting one of Scott's old coaches, C.M. Newton. And I remember C.M. used to always, he got a lot of awards, and he'd get up, he'd talk about, he'd been around a long time, and good things are bound to happen to you if you stay around long enough. Well, I've been around for a long time too, and a lot of good things have happened to me. And this is one of the special ones. I want to thank the committee again for providing me with another special memory, and it's certainly a great honor to be selected to this Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Our next inductee was the place kicker for Coach Roy Kidd's EKU Colonels from 1977 to 1980. During his years at Eastern, he was named to 3 All-OVC teams. First team his junior year, and he kicked one of the most important, if not the most important, field goal in Eastern history. When in double overtime, he nailed a 20-yard attempt that gave the Colonels a thrilling 33-30 double overtime victory over Nevada Reno. That was in the semifinals of the 1AA tournament. Eastern went on to the national championship the next week and won over Lehigh 30-7, the school's first national title. Earlier in that Nevada game that I spoke of, he tied his own school record with a 49-yard kick against the Wolfpack. He concluded his Colonel career with 7 OVC kicking records. He was named the Kentucky UPI College Player of the Week, the first time a place kicker had been ever chosen for that award. In addition to his game-winning field goal against Nevada Reno, he also had the winning kick in 1980 in a victory over Kentucky State. He led the OVC in kick scoring for 3 seasons, making 38 of the 58 field goals he attempted, 126 of 132 extra points. Ladies and gentlemen, he wore number 10, David Flores.
It's great to be back here. I could not have ended up at a university or football program that was a better fit for me than here at EKU. There were a number of things that I experienced early on that made me feel at home that this is where I should be. My dad was a high school math teacher, and depending on what season it was, he coached track and field, basketball, and football. In grade school, when the last bell would ring, I'd be on my way up to the high school quarter field to be with my dad. I'd also ride the buses to all the away football games, basketball games. When I came down here, during one of my first practices at Eastern, I noticed a young man out on the field talking with Coach Kidd. I later found out it was one of Coach Kidd's sons, Keith. I knew what that feeling was like. It made me feel at home, and this is where I should be. First away game that we took here at Eastern, I saw Keith sitting with his dad on the bus. And again, I knew what that feeling was like, and it made me feel at home. Practices down here were businesslike, but not so serious that if something funny would happen, you could laugh at it. I would spend some practice time with the different position groups because I wanted to feel part of what everybody else was doing. The best part of being with the offensive linemen was listening to David Neal, Dean Stuckey, Danny Hope, Joe Shipsky, and Darrell Lawson's running commentary on each other, the next opponent, relationships, the weather, or whatever else was the subject of the moment, and at the same time watch Coach Canan trying to keep a straight face and not swallow his whistle. I also ran wind sprints with them after practice because I could keep up with most of them. The program that I came from and the program here at EKU believed in taking care of the little things, and the big things would take care of themselves. The little things involve fundamentals, techniques, footwork, positioning, preparation, and repetition, repetition, repetition. Going over these little things time and time again until they became a reaction. The successes that we had here at EKU were not the result of records set by any one of us. They were the result of each one of us believing in the roles that we were given and working to take care of those little things. During the 4 years I spent here, there was only one time that I can say that I felt any nervousness about what I was doing. It wasn't out on the football field that this happened. I was completing my student teaching assignment at Madison Central High School. My student supervising teacher was Doug Roberts, and he was a terrific industrial arts teacher. And I wish I could have spent more time with him before I was in my own classroom. My first classroom assignment that he gave me was to show how to plan and diagram an electric schematic drawing for a residential home. I did my research, wrote out my lesson outline and drawings, and submitted all these materials to Doug for his approval an hour before my presentation. I was feeling pretty good up to that point. Then I watched Doug go down my notes, shaking his head and crossing out one line after another, saying, "This is out of date, we don't do it like this anymore, this is out of date, this is out of date." If there would have been a crack in the floor, I would have crawled right into it. I got up in front of the class and started writing on the chalkboard. My hand was shaking so bad you could actually hear the chalk tapping on the board. I somehow made it through that 50-minute presentation, and afterwards I apologized to Doug for the job that I did. He looked up at me and said he could tell I was struggling, but he wasn't going to come up there and bail me out. He said you were going to have to figure out your own way out of it. Learn from it and move on. I lost my dad in 2002 and my mom in 2009, both to cancer. Before their deaths, they told me on several occasions about how much they enjoyed the 4 years that I was down here at EKU. They loved coming down to the games and meeting my teammates, their parents, the coaches, and the fans. In closing, I give my grateful thanks to everyone who has supported and been a part of this university and football program, mainly for giving my mom and dad some of the best times that they had in their lives, and that will always mean a great deal to me. Thank you.
Our next inductee played for the EKU baseball team from 2006 to 2008. He was the three-time All-American pitcher, first-team All-OVC, 2008 OVC Pitcher of the Year, 2006 OVC Rookie of the Year, and a two-time All-Tournament team member. As a freshman, he went 10-2. His ERA was 1.98. He struck out 118 batters in 82 innings. As a sophomore, he was 5-4. His ERA was 2.09. He had 101 strikeouts. In his final year, his junior year at Eastern, he compiled a 5-1 record. His ERA dropped to 1.43. He struck out 108 batters. He was picked to be part of the pitching staff for the USA baseball team. He finished his Eastern career 20-7. His ERA for the career was 1.83. He was striking out 12 batters for every 9 innings pitched over his career. In 2008, he was the 25th pick in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft by the Colorado Rockies. In 2010, he was the futures selection of Tulsa of the Texas League, and in 2011 was a midseason All-Star for Tulsa. In 3 seasons with the Rockies, he pitched in 100 games. He started 19 of those. In 2015, he pitched out of the bullpen for the Rockies, appearing in 68 games, striking out 45 in 58 innings of work. He was signed then in March by the San Diego Padres. It has been a fixture in the San Diego rotation most of this season, recording career highs in innings pitched and strikeouts. Christian Friedrich could not be with us today, but let's view a video now shot this summer as he tells about his experiences while at EKU.
Talk a little bit about your time at EKU. What are some fond memories that you look back on when you played for the Colonels?
Definitely enjoyed staying at Commonwealth. I think the fire alarm got pulled every night around 4 a.m. or at least 2 or 3 times a week, you know, with those frats on 3 through 6 or something like that. And then stayed over at Dupree. That was nice, shorter walk to the baseball field. Enjoyed tailgating. I loved tailgating for those football games. Felt like we were out there at 8 a.m. But, you know, every time I think about that place, you just think about walking the campus. And even though it wasn't that big, it felt like home. It felt like a lot of great memories, fond relationships just stirred up, and really look forward to going back.
But did it feel good to come back to Cincinnati, an area where you went to college and stuff, and pick up the win?
Yeah, a lot of good memories around here. Definitely made a few trips up to Cincinnati, 75. So it's fun to be here. I had a lot of college friends that came. I mean, probably from 20 minutes south, 20 minutes north. Everybody was in attendance, and it was just fun to see some familiar faces. Now they have families and kids.
Have you been back lately? Have you seen any of the changes? Or?
No, I've definitely been in contact with Coach and checking out the new place, new amenities with the field and behind the backstop. I know they're thinking about where the old tennis courts were, putting in an indoor facility and a locker room that seems like it's going to be awesome. So definitely looking forward to seeing the new changes, and obviously reminiscing with some of the old.
You came to EKU. You played college baseball outside of the Power 5 conferences, and you went on to become a first-round draft pick and a major league starter. Can EKU players? Is that a realistic goal for guys at EKU that if they work hard?
Everybody starts off at 18 and they have these growth spurts anywhere from 17 to 24, and I'd say about everyone on the starting staff right now is we all talk about how much we weighed in high school. In your first year of college, it seems like everyone's putting on 15 to 25 pounds. So I'd say it's very doable. It definitely takes a lot of hard work and persistent attitude to never being discouraged and always trying to grind towards your goal. But it's a matter of playing, and that's what I found most important at EKU, and what attracted me to there was the campus, the teammates, and maybe have an opportunity to play early on and try and get some reps. So if you're good enough, they'll find you anywhere. And then obviously playing summer ball, trying to play well during the season, good enough to make your way up to maybe the Cape or Northwest League or New England Collegiate League. So it's definitely doable. I think it's doable at any school, especially EKU. There's a lot of great competition around, and I'd take up the OVC against anybody on any given day.
To accept the award for Christian is the biggest Colonel fan and the biggest baseball fan I've ever met, Executive Director of the EKU Athletics Hall of Fame, Carl Park.
Thank you, Greg. Edwin Thompson, our brand-new baseball coach, second year getting ready to start, would love to have been here today, but we are playing our one fall practice game in Lexington against a Canadian international team, so he could not be here, but he certainly would. He has established a great relationship already with Christian. He went to see him play in Atlanta and also Cincinnati, and his contact with him, not daily, but certainly weekly, so that's good to hear. Christian, just a little bit about his year. Greg mentioned his innings pitched and his strikeouts were up. He had 60 more innings. He was put in the starting rotation in May, and he never left it, and that's quite an accomplishment for a long relief guy. So he had a great season. He had 60 more innings and 50 more strikeouts. He was pitching for a team that was tied for the the worst record in the league in San Diego. So he was in a lot of 0-0, 1-0, 2-0 games late in a situation, 6th, 7th inning. He didn't get the win, but he pitched a quality start. So he's having a really good year, and we're looking forward to good things from him, certainly in the future. One thing that he's working on in California is his contract. This is his contract year, and we're hoping everything gets worked out in that regard. But on behalf of Christian, I'd like to accept this award. He is very excited to be enshrined, and in October 22nd, we have homecoming, and plans are for him. He's hoping to make it back. And if that happens, we'll certainly recognize him at some point on the sideline during that game. But he had a great career, great guy, and certainly everything is going to be a plus in the future. Thank you.
Our next inductee played fullback for Coach Roy Kidd from 1977 to 1980. He was chosen All-OVC 3 times, including first team in 1978 and 1979. He was the starting fullback and the leading rusher in that 1979 1AA National Championship game, in which Eastern crushed Lehigh 30-7 down in Orlando. He rushed for 121 yards on 21 carries that day. The Colonels took, if you'll remember the opening drive of that game, 78 yards. They scored. They did not throw a pass on that opening drive. In 1978, he was named Honorable Mention All-American. He gained 985 yards, and he scored 15 touchdowns. In the regionally televised Western Kentucky game, he was the ABC Chevrolet Player of the Game. In his 4 seasons as a Colonel, Eastern compiled a 34-12 record. They went on to 2 of what would turn out to be 4 straight national championship game appearances. He rushed in his career for 2,396 yards. He scored 32 TDs. Joined today by family, friends, and teammates, ladies and gentlemen, number 35, Dale Patton.
First off, I'd like to say you see a lot of my teammates here, and I think some of y'all already know our team was already inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009, but that was a 79 team. It was great to play with some of these guys back in the day, and even today, I still see that there's a lot of bonds between some of the players and all that, and that, makes me feel good because that's what we tried to work for. We knew, what Coach Kidd tried to do was to just give us the strategies, give us the system, and give us everything we need to win. But, in order to beat some of the teams that you had to play, you had to have a little something extra. And I think as players, we kind of provided that ourselves. We provided our own accountability based on some of the things that we tried to do. We kind of watched out for one another. Some of the older guys passed on things to the younger guys. And, you added all this together, and before you knew it, you had a nice family. And even today, I think about a year and a half ago, a former inductee, Bill Hughes, passed away. And at his funeral, I was able to share some thoughts with some of the players there. That made me feel at home, made me feel at ease or whatever. And something like this, you always come back to. You always know that, even in your darkest days, you always have some people that still care about you, need you, want you, and they're going to help you make it through some of the hard times. But, that was just one of the teammates. But I see a lot of my teammates here today, this table right here, and see family and friends, see coaches or whatever, and I see Coach Kidd over there. He had a vision. He had a concept, and it's kind of funny because pass on. I tell people, I don't know if they were aware, but he was doing some of the things they try to do today. He was doing them back in the 70s, in which I actually witnessed that. When I came to Eastern, we had a good system. We had some good players, but I noticed he started recruiting some players from Florida. And I guess we all know a horse is from Florida. That's Dr. Reverend Bishop Alvin Mueller. He was my tailback, and they mentioned about that drive that we had against Lehigh. What made that so unique was, I don't know if some of y'all remember Howard Cosell. He gave Lehigh this big promotion about how tough they were and how it was going to be hard for Eastern to beat them or whatever. So we was pretty geared to go out there and show them that, we had some ballers too. So we kind of took that personally. And between me and Miller and the rest of the team, we pretty much put it to them or whatever. But, I mean, Lehigh was a tough opponent. But I think based on, and that was when they started ESPN, but I do remember Howard Cosell talked about the Lehigh engineers and how they was going to beat EKU and this, that, and other. And before you know it, we kind of put, Roy and them had a game plan, and we pretty much just took it to Lehigh. So that was one of my greatest accomplishments, one of the best things I remember. But just playing with some of the players that Eastern produced, it really made me feel at home, made me feel at ease. And like I say, we had a winning wave while we was here at Eastern. Matter of fact, while I was at Eastern, some of the late 70 years, we probably played for some of the largest crowds in EKU football history. And we also started, I think back in 78, we started a long winning streak that I think lasted for years. That was a home winning streak. But all that and done, like I said, I'm very appreciative of the selection committee to put me in there. But like I was saying, I feel as a team, the team pretty much went in, and I'm humbled to be part of the team. I'm humbled to play with the cast of talented characters that we had to give us a winning way at Eastern, and hopefully in the future, Eastern will be able to continue to go back to some of them winning ways or whatever. And that's it. Thank you.
Our next inductee was a member of Coach Kidd's first EKU football team. He played defensive end for the Curdles from 1964 to 1967, and he was a big part of Eastern raising its win total from 3 up to 8 in 1967, which culminated in that OVC championship and a 27-13 victory over Ball State in the NCAA Mideast Regional Championship. He was all OVC as a sophomore and a senior when he served as co-captain for that Grantland Rice Bowl championship team. He was the team's leading pass rusher as a sophomore, was second on the team in interceptions with 4. While injuries slowed him his junior year, he served as a tri-captain as Eastern's defense led the OVC, allowing less than 204 yards a game. He returned to full strength his senior year, leading a defense that gave up only 70 points in the 10 regular season games, including 3 shutouts. After graduation, he was signed as a free agent by the San Francisco 49ers, but his football career ended with an injury in 1968. He was inducted into the founders class of the Springfield Clark Shawnee Hall of Fame in 2012. He had 2 brothers that also played for Coach Kidd. Brian played for the Curdles from 68 to 70, and Mark played for Eastern from 1977 to 1980. And was a member of that 1979 national championship team. Joined today by family and friends, let's welcome number 88, Chuck Seaman.
I know the feeling. I'm I was listening to all this accolades and stuff we did, and Coach Kidd sitting over there, some of my teammates, I was ready to play. And I looked at the picture on the brochure, I said, yeah, I can do it. And then I looked in the mirror, I said, in your dreams. No way. No way. Anyhow, I feel incredibly blessed and grateful to receive this honor and to have been a part of EKU's family of athletes, the men and women, teammates, teachers, coaches that came into my life through this university, helped mold me, my wife, and so many other young men and women, and I'm deeply grateful. I feel so privileged to have played for one of the greatest college coaches of all time. I think I went ahead of myself. Forgive me, I'm 71, so I forget. Hey, I'm gonna back up a hair. Coach, you're still the greatest coach of all time. We'll get that again, okay? I first met Coach Kidd as a very shy, backward senior in high school. My dad brought me to EKU to meet Coach Kidd, and the first thing my dad did was, this was in Coach Kidd's house, he told me to take my shirt off, and I said, huh? I don't know if you remember that, Coach. He told me he took my shirt off. I had never been more embarrassed in my life and was totally humiliated. But my dad was a character. I'm sure today him and Coach Shannon are up there discussing strategies. So Coach Shannon is no longer with us. Most of you probably don't go back that far. You see, my dad was really trying hard to get me at the EKU to play football. There were 8 of us children, and my parents worked hard to make ends meet. Both wanted desperately for their children to be able to go to college. My dad made it plain to me and my 4 brothers that our only avenue would be through athletics and a scholarship. Eventually, 2 of my brothers, which was already mentioned, followed me to EKU and had very successful careers here and are also alumni. Sports have given my siblings and myself so many opportunities that we probably would have never had otherwise. Coach Kidd did not offer me a full scholarship that day. He made it clear that I would have to prove myself and then hopefully be offered one. I was determined. I loved the game of football, and I've never been afraid to work hard, so that is what I did. By the end of the first semester, a full scholarship was offered to me. My freshman year was Coach Kidd's first year as head coach, and I do feel so privileged to have played under one of the greatest college coaches of all time. I do have lots of memories from those days, and when I see all you old teammates, they pop up even more vivid. Remember all the two-a-day practices. I don't know if, and the dawn patrols. Any of you remember dawn patrol? The coaches, they were for disciplined reasons. I don't remember what I did wrong, but I'm sure I deserved it. But there was 6 a.m. on the track, and coaches took turns coming up there to watch us, to make us run. And I remember none of us wanted to get Coach Oakley, because the grumpier he was, the more we would have to run. So we all tried to stay away from him. I also remember the water bucket with a rag in it that we had to suck on for our water during practice. And then they would give us a cup of salt water at the break. Now, I don't know if that's still done today. But my grandsons asked me what kind of helmets we wore, and I said they weren't leather, and we did have face masks. So, also, especially remember the pep talks by Coach Shannon. There was no one like him. He made you feel invincible. He was an incredible motivator, and we all loved him. I especially remember his Sparky story, and I still recall it today. The memories of those 5 years I spent under these men, being mentored and disciplined, shaped me for the future. They taught me how to persevere through pain and injury, how to strive to be the best of the best, and also how to handle defeat as well as victory. I have a little quiver in my voice because this means so much to me, my family, all of us. As I look back, though I didn't realize it then, the hand of God was all over mine and Luann's lives. Our marriage barely survived the struggles of those 2 years, 2 years spent in college after we were married in 1966, juggling the college, the demands of football at this level, as well as pressures that having no money guarantees, coupled with both of us being too young to start with. Somehow God still kept us together, and this year we celebrate 50 years of marriage. I couldn't have done it without her. She has been God's most special gift to me. She's my wife. After college, my plans were to be a professional football player. I worked hard toward that goal, ended up with the 49ers after graduation from EKU, and signed as a free agent. I thought my future was secure. That was what I wanted, and it was all I could imagine doing. But again, God had his hand intervened. God intervened. During training camp, I sustained a career-ending injury, was sent home, devastated. I thought my life was over, but God had other plans for me. That year, God led us back in. Shoot. That's what happens when you try to read everything. Anyhow, back it up to the 49ers, knee injury, and it was 1968. And that's why I'm having trouble. That's a long time ago. So, 1968 was the height of the Vietnam War. So as soon as I got home from the 49ers, I had my draft papers in the mail, and I went to Columbus with my best friend Steve for the physical. I flunked class of Miami 4F because of my injury. He passed and went on. That winter, he was killed in Vietnam, and I was spared because I had flunked the physical. Those were dark days in our country, and my depression was at all-time high. Again, God had different plans for me. That year, He led Luann and I back after we got home from the being classified 4F and no longer being able to play football. That year, God led us back into our early love of horses. I worked in a bank, and Luann taught school. We began to work with the horses that we both loved so much. We had met in 4-H club and as young people, and to make a long story short, we have owned and operated a public training stable for Arabian show horses now for almost 50 years. Our 2 sons work with us, and I can honestly say that we are extremely blessed. God has blessed us with 3 beautiful children, Matthew, Christy, and Luke. Matt and Luke are with us today, along with their wives, Pam and Sarah. I think I said that right. And 6 of our 9 grandchildren. I would like to acknowledge them. Would you stand up just for 1 second? All right. 2007, our lives took a turn that no parent wants to experience. Our daughter Christy passed away right after the birth of her baby. It was incredible. I'm not crying because I'm sad, I'm nervous, and I'm excited because she's in the arms of Jesus right now. So don't feel bad for me. Encourage me, that's it. Our daughter Christy passed away right after the birth of her baby. It's the hardest experience in our lives and a huge test of our faith. But again, Luann and I have seen God's hand all over our lives, even in our loss, bringing comfort, assurance, and hope. He has given us peace, and we are so thankful to have had her in our lives for 30 years that we had her. This past year, I was diagnosed with cancer. So once again, our faith was tested in a whole new way. Today, I'm cancer-free. And so very thankful to God for his healing powers and his working out intricate details of all that is involved in the cancer journey. Each of us will have many circumstances in our lives, some good and some very difficult. It is being part of being human. It is how we process and deal with those hard times and to who we rely on when the storms of life come that make or break us. For us, it has been our faith in the Lord. I'm not the same person I was as that skinny, scared kid that was forced into Coach Kid's home that day, some 50 years ago. God has changed me, and I'm so thankful. My only regret is that my parents are no longer with us. This day would have been so very, very special to both of them. God bless all of you, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Our next inductee played 4 seasons of basketball at EKU from 1958 to 1963. 3 of those under legendary coach Paul McBrayer. His senior year for Jim Bechtold. Senior year, he was captain for the Maroons, the team's point guard and its leader. He averaged 12.9 points and 4.8 rebounds a game. The team's most valuable player and also an All-OVC member. Another highlight of his senior year came when he hit a 35-foot shot at the buzzer of the third overtime to defeat Wittenberg, the nation's top-ranked small college power that season. He was a member of 2 of the Maroons teams that had a 38-game home court winning streak in Weaver Health Building. He was called Mr. Hustle by sports writers and fans. He led Eastern in playing time, and he finished second on the team in field goal percentage. He was a scholar athlete through his accomplished Eastern career, and he's a member of the EKU Hall of Distinguished Alumni. While working on his master's here at Eastern, he coached the Maroons freshman team in 1964-65. From 1964 to 1969, he was a second lieutenant and then a first lieutenant with the United States Army, served in Korea as well as in Florida and Texas. While serving in Korea, he was the captain of his brigade basketball team and was chosen as the first All-Star from that team. He averaged 28 points a game, and he led the unit to the championship of all armed forces teams in Korea. He has since worked at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Joined today by his former teammates, family, and friends, let's welcome number 23, Rupert Stephens.
Thank you, Greg. If some of you don't know, this guy right here was the winner of the 2015-16 Ohio Valley Media Award, okay? And I think we should give him a hand. Good job, Greg. I am very humble, honored to, my university chose a skinny, undersized farm boy from Russell County, Russell Springs, Kentucky, to the list of the greatest student athletes here at EKU. It is such a great honor. I'd like to dedicate this to our daughter, Jill, who's a beautiful nurse and an angel. Also, to my mom and dad, who taught me that hard work, honest living makes you successful in life. I would like to recognize my family here today. Beautiful wife, 52 years. I'm old too, see, okay? wife of 52 years, who also graduated from EKU, Mary Rose. Then a wonderful son and daughter-in-law, who both graduated from Florida Tech in Melbourne, Florida. Okay, Joel and Janet. Then the special ones. You all got grandchildren, right? The next two special, beautiful, lovable, talented granddaughters, Jordan, 13, and Janelle, 9. Next, my two sisters, who are wonderful. They had to put up with me for a long time, you know, Nana and Edith. Then also a great niece, okay, who graduated from Eastern, got her master's degree from Eastern, and she's still in Kentucky. She's at Corbin, Kentucky. Sharon and her husband, Ivan. Also, I would like to recognize two individuals who helped Mary Rose and I here at Eastern and helping us throughout their life. They're icons here, and you all, most of you know them, okay? It's Don and Jody Feltner. Then, probably two of the most special people we have ever known as classmates. And I have to give him great credit, okay? He's the one that put my name in to become selected by the Hall of Fame. He's Dr. Paul Motley and his beautiful wife, Merle. Nobody has more been fortunate than I have to have 4 of the greatest coaches that you could ever have in basketball. At Russell County High School, I had Charles Chuck Mrazovich, who is a Hall of Famer. All these coaches are in the Hall of Fame, who got me started in basketball. Then I come to Eastern, I'm the legendary coach and great individual that taught you more than basketball. He taught you how to live your life. That's Coach Paul McBrayer. Then, after he left, was Coach Jim Bechtel, who was absolutely great, All-American, played pro ball. Then after him, another great person is Dr. Jack Adams, who also set most of the records here at Eastern in basketball, an All-American, and actually played on the U.S. Olympic team. 4 great coaches. Nobody can compare me for that because they taught me everything. I am so honored to have my name in the Hall of Fame here at Eastern with these great coaches and all the great student athletes here at Eastern. I want to thank the university for giving me the education and the knowledge to succeed through my career in helping launch astronauts to the moon and also to help develop the shuttle program. I want to thank Carl and the Hall of Fame committee for selecting this country boy because this is the greatest honor that I could ever have. Thanks to all of you. Now, Carl wanted me to tell a McBrayer story. I know a lot of them. There's some funny ones. And Coach, if all of you know Coach McBrayer, he was really very tough on us, but very honest, straightforward, like a father to us. So I guess if I have time, I could tell one, right? Okay. Okay, I want to tell one story, okay? It was on the court, okay, scrimmaging. And we was to play Moorhead that weekend. So Coach McBrayer always wanted to pick 5 of us to simulate the Moorhead team and run against the varsity, the other 5. So he selected 5 of us, and the 2 guards they had at Moorhead was All-Americans. In fact, Granville Williams led the nation in scoring, 35 points plus a ball game. Herky Thompson was the other guard. He averaged somewhere between 25 and 30 points a ball game. That was their whole offense. So Coach McBrayer comes up to me and Carter Brandenburg. He's not here, he's passed away. Okay, but Carter Brandenburg was named B. Thompson, I was named B. Williams. He said, I want you guys to shoot and just shoot all over the court, okay, just like we've been looking at the films of them and the scouting report. The other 2 guards on the team was Carl Cole and Phil Eastel. So we got to playing, and we was having the day of our lives shooting, because we could just shoot any way we wanted to shoot, okay? We was banking them in. I mean, I wish I'd had an ever game like that, okay? Me and him in that scrimmage scored 30-something points each, okay? Unbelievable. I mean, you've never seen anything like it. So they set in picks for us, and I was dribbling over to the side, down the baseline and the sideline. And Cottle was one of the best defensive players anywhere. In Ohio Valley, he was all Ohio Valley and everything. He was guarding me, 6'3", tough. He was really tough. So I dribbled over the side, okay, and he was trying to get through the picks, and I saw him coming, so I just turned and threw the ball up and banked it in. Coach McBrayer blew his whistle, so he stopped. Every minute you stop. He said, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit, okay, because there are a lot of students here, okay? Okay? He goes over to the coach and said, "What the blankety blank are you doing? Get on him." Carl never said anything. Carl looked at him and says, "Coach, he's shooting him out his blankety blank, and I can't do nothing about it." Well, Coach McBrayer says, "You better, that's what Williams is going to do to you this weekend." I said, "Okay." So we finished the scrimmage. We go down Weaver Health Building, go down the steps to the dressing room. Me and Carter was going down there, and Coach McBrayer was standing on the floor. He said, "Brandenburg and Stevens, come here." I said, "Carter, what did we do?" He's going to get our butts. Well, we walked out there and said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, fellas," he said, "that's some of the best shooting that I've ever seen, and you simulated Thompson and Williams great." He looked us right in the eye. He says, "Are you sure either one of you never played for Moorhead?" And we said, "No, sir, we haven't." He said, "Let me give you one thing." And no smile. I mean, McBrayer was a tough guy. He said, "No smile." He said, "Don't you ever think about leaving EKU and going to Moorhead and play. Do you understand me?" And we said, "Yes, sir." He said, "That's all." So we left out there. That's one of the stories that I got many. I could tell many of them, but he wanted me to tell one. Okay, but I'd like to leave you with one little quote. If I can find it here. This is great. It was a guy that spoke at our graduation, mine and Mary Rose's graduation here at EKU. Okay, he was Norman Vincent Peale. He wrote The Power of Positive Thinking. Great guy, great author, great everything. This is what he said, and I've tried to live by this. Okay? Believe in yourself, have faith in your ability. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your power, you cannot be successful or happy. Thank you all. Go team.
Our next inductee ran track for Coach Rick Erdman from 1981 to 1983 after being named the National Junior College All-American at Hagerstown, Maryland Junior College. He was an All-American in the 60-meter dash, the 100-meter dash, and the 200-meter dash there. He qualified for the U.S. Olympic trials in 1980. He was recruited to Eastern by Coach Erdman, who was then the coach at Hagerstown and came to Eastern. And he really never broke stride as a colonel, setting school records in the 55-meter dash, the 60-meter dash, and the 100-meter dash. He was also a member of the record-setting 4x100-meter relay. He was also a two-time U.S. Olympic Trials qualifier, an NCAA All-American, and a Pan American Games finalist, all in the 100 meters. He closed his career at Eastern in 1983 as a 12-time collegiate All-American. Joined today by his wife and other members of his family and friends, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Rick White.
Oh, boy. Hello, everybody. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Carl Parks and Coach Erdman. Thank you, friends and family, for coming and joining me. My wife of 30 years. Oh, and speaking of today, is my daughter's birthday, and she feels like everything's going on and nobody's thinking about her. Everybody, please say happy birthday, Anastasia. And Eastern was a very, very interesting part of my life that carried on, and it meant so much to me. Coach Erdman took us guys around. You hear all those accolades and all the 12 times All-American and all that. He put us in a situation by taking us to all the invitationals and all the big, large meets, to the point where beside me, every week, there was a Carl Lewis, a Sam Grady. I mean, I was with 9 to 8 guys that became legends. And it put us in a situation where we had to persevere. You know, a lot of times I was injured or I had a growing pool or whatever, and I still had to get up and do it. I never forget at the Domino's Classic, I had a growing pool, and they said, well, a lot of guys are getting hurt. We need to get in there and just try to see what you can do. I ended up, I think, winning. I think I ran a 10-2 with a growing pool, and fell when I got across the line. The coaches and them took me to the hospital. I had pulled I had got a hernia. We'll come back to that later. Anyway, Coach, I would like to thank you for taking us around the country in those vans to all those meets so we could be around those people. The Penny Relays was a very, very inspirational meet. You cannot imagine what it sounds or feels like for 80,000 people to be calling your name. You know, that is strong and powerful. That was happening in the relay, and that was with Tennessee, with Sam Grady. You know, we actually won that race with them, against them. That experience from Eastern, you know, stayed with me throughout my life and allowed me to accomplish so many things. A few years ago, I have to tell you this, that hernia, I was going to have it repaired, but prior to that, I was diagnosed with kidney failure. And what happened was, I think of June of 2014, I started getting fluid in my lungs. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And the doctors found out that it was virus or bug or something eating at my aorta valve. Told me I had 5 days to live if I needed help, if I don't take surgery, if I don't have the surgery. He came to me and said, Rick, I'll be honest with you. 50% of people that have the surgery die. 25 normally become vegetative, in the vegetative state. And the other 25 normally be in a wheelchair 6 months to a year. And I went under surgery. I passed on the table. They brought me back. And when I went to the recovery room, they put a walker in my room that I had to try to get my strength and work out. Well, what happened was my wife was with me, and I walked down the hall, and the alarms went off. And all the nurses came running, and they said, what's he's doing? They said, he's running down in the hall. The doctors came in the next morning and said, you walking around like nothing never happened. You done had hernia surgery, you done had heart surgery, and you have kidney failure, but you walking around like nothing. So for 2 years, I spent 2 years in Emory Hospital trying to figure out what was going on and what this was all about. And they come to say that they felt that the reason why I was able to back so quick was because all of the track and field that I did here at Eastern. So Eastern saved my life. You know, that was You know, if I hadn't told you this, you would never know this. A lot of people don't even realize that I've been through some things, you know, and I almost have been to the point where my wife or family would have been, you know, accepting this if I was going to be inducted. But again, I would like to thank everybody that inducted me. And Coach, I would like to thank you for coming down to North Carolina, to the Tidewater area, River Cricket area, and finding me, and bringing me out, you know, because like I said, again, you know, I had never been beaten. Boy, I wish I was living, I wish Usain Bolt was running when I was running. Woo, I would have eaten him up. I would have ate him up. Let me just let you understand how this was. I was in North Carolina where we had sand, and before we had a track meet, they went around and painted the lines. There were no blocks. You had to do your feet like this, a hole and a hole. and so when I came to Eastern, I did not know how to run out of the blocks. So at home, what I used to do was let them fire the gun and let the team, or the people on the team, on the track, run ahead of me. Then I'd run and catch them up, and then pass them, and I got in trouble for that because I used to let them go, pass them, and then stand at the finish line with my case on watching the time. And they said, that's bad sportsmanlike, nah, can't do that, can't do that. But, you know, at Eastern, I was able to, you know, tune in some things and get the blocks and stuff down packed, and I was pretty good. I was in that group that would have been in 1980 Olympic Games, and that was a downside for me because I don't think I ever put much into track and field after that, because I spent the 60s and 70s living my life to run in the 80 games. And when they boycotted, it kind of like took a lot of wind out of my sail. However, you know, what you saw and what you heard was accolades that I got running halfway of what I could run. And so that's why I said if Usain Bolt was running with me, oh, I'd eat him up. I'd eat him up, you know. Because see, the other thing Easton taught me was track is 10% mental. And that mental part, well, 90% mental, that mental part plays a very, very big part in you competing. A lot of these athletes that are running now, they're physical, and they work on the physical. They take vitamins and things for the physical, but it's the mental that they need in order to persevere. And that's what our team in America hadn't been able to do. You know, that's why we're kind of losing ground in that particular area, because we're worrying about our bodies, worrying about our strength, but the mental, you know, and that's what people in Jamaica and stuff are doing. They were doing the mental, you know. So that's what we need to do. Now, the other thing is, Eastern has given me the opportunity to be bold and daring to the point where I'm now head of state of a foreign government, and we're trying to seek international statehood, you know, from all the nations of the world. My personal family, I'm from an old family, old family. My family basically had a land and a state here before the Europeans even came, before the state of the United States even was created, before the states were created, and we still have it. That property or that land home, that homestead is also larger than the smallest country in the world at this time. So I'm a sovereign individual, one of the oldest ones, and one of the only ones that's awakened in this country. But anyway, again, thank you for the accolades, thank you for the induction, and thank you for coming. Bye.
Rick, are these yours? Glasses?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Congratulations to all the inductees to the 2016 class of the EKU Athletics Hall of Fame. We now have 121, I think as Craig mentioned earlier, 121 individuals and 3 teams. I also want to say a personal thanks. We asked many of these inductees to get here a little early. We've started Inside Athletics at Eastern now and Inside EKU Sports. It's basically a coach's show that is now online on EKUsports.com. And we publish it every Thursday, and we interviewed all 8 of the inductees that were here in person. And I asked them 3 things. I wanted to know about their favorite playing moment or their favorite memory of EKU, but also, more importantly, about the foundation that they learned for later in life by being an EKU Maroon or an EKU Colonel. And we had some great responses, and we will play those throughout the year. And so keep a look at, if you can, for EKU's, Inside EKU Sports on the website. I mean, Rick talking about his ancestral history, talking to Tina about the work she does with children in Miami, talking to David Flores about if Joe Richard doesn't block that extra point, he doesn't get the chance to kick the field goal, who he kept waiting for Coach Kidd to call him out onto the field for that chip shot, and everybody to talking about the Kennedy Space Center and dealing with helping astronauts. Great stories, 3-minute conversations that I think you'll enjoy to go back and listen to. I told them all that it was easier to do that than to get up here and make the speeches that they made today. We're going to close by bringing up a man that halfway through his 2nd year at Eastern has already established that winning championships that are synonymous with EKU, including 3 Ohio Valley Conference titles last year. The department as a whole won the OVC Commissioner's Cup this past season, signifying overall excellence among conference schools in athletics competition. Now, in the classroom, the 2015-16 academic year was one of the best ever for the Colonels, as 15 of the 17 teams had a GPA above 3.0. A Hall of Famer in his own right in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Let's welcome to the podium EKU Director of Athletics, Steve Mueller.
Thank you, Greg. First of all, I want to congratulate all the inductees. Congratulations. Glad to have you home. This is your home, and we're proud of you, and welcome back to EKU. I'm going to close on a few things here. First of all, what a time, what a great time to be a colonel. Just to share a few things with you, our women's soccer program under their coach Nick Flores has won 8 games straight. Was hoping to say 9, but they lost yesterday, but they were #1 in the OVC until yesterday. So proud of the job that he and the ladies are doing in soccer, and I look very much forward to a lot of success in the future. Women's cross country, #5 in the Southeast region. What a great accolade to our young ladies who are running cross country. Men's cross country, #8 nationally in the nation. I'm talking about Division I. I'm talking about everybody. #8 in the country. Coach, congratulations on what you're doing with our cross country and track programs. Women's golf, 56th in the nation. Again, that's everybody. That's competing with everybody. Men's golf was 25th in the nation. I think they came in, well, I know they came in 2nd, so I think they dropped a little bit this week in the polls, but to have those men and women's golf in the top 50 in the country is very encouraging in our athletic program. As Craig mentioned, construction underway at softball, baseball, east side of Roy Kidd Stadium. We've renovated men's and women's basketball locker rooms as well as volleyball is in progress as we speak. New roof, new floor, new outdoor tennis enhancements over to tennis program. New enhancements inside of Alumni Coliseum, LED table, bleachers, premium seats, and more to come. Soon we'll release our new Title IX plan to be able to have something to gauge ourselves against as we move forward in gender equity. And then we'll be able to look at each other and decide whether we're doing the right thing at EKU, which I believe we will be, and I believe we're already on road to start doing that. remodeling the first floor of Moberly, as Chairman Turner mentioned. We're getting ready to house a new hammer strength showcase facility. It'll double, almost triple the size of our strength and conditioning facility for both our women's and men's sports. It'll be a first class. Stay tuned. This announcement's coming very soon, but I wanted to share that with you all. Introduced our wall of honors for our individual sports program honors. Each of those sports recognition things will be happening over the next several months at individual venues in the individual sports. To Greg's point, we've been very fortunate to win the OVC Commissioners Cup again 4 out of the last 5 years. We have a new record of 711 Colonel Club members. We hope to go over 1,000 before this year's over with. 142 of those individuals are given at $1,000 plus level. The support that we are gathering and building here at EKU with alumni, donors, and obviously with the highlight being on the student athletes. And I think that's the point Greg made, that's the proudest point that we have, and that is that we've had 9 straight semesters over 3.0, and we were 3.2 last semester in the spring. And that's just as important as winning and losing, is preparing these young men and young women for the game of life. We were very honored and working with some folks to finally recognize our Hall of Fame coach, Coach Roy Kidd. We've got a bronze under construction there to be able to dedicate to Roy and what he brought to this university over the years, which was way overdue. So we're happy to be involved in that. Only thing else I'd like to do is recognize Mayor Barnes, Jim Barnes, and it's his beautiful wife, Jan, who's the mayor, but I'd like to recognize them for being with us today. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your friendship. EKU appreciates you both. And with that, I'll say 2 things. One, volleyball is already going on at alumni, so if you're bored, go watch our volleyball team. And obviously at 6 p.m. this evening, the Colonels take on Siemon. Please come join us. We'd love to have you. And thank you. Be safe going home, and go Colonels.
Carl wanted me to mention for the inductees to gather up here for pictures, group picture. So if you could do that, and then enjoy the rest of your day, and go Big E.